Ascent Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Pathways to Peace of Mind by Napoleon Hill. Foreword by Don Green. Introduction by Dr. J.B. Hill. Narrated by Asa Siegel. Napoleon Hill's Pathways to Peace of Mind. Foreword by Don Green, CEO, Napoleon Hill Foundation. Napoleon Hill's grandson, Dr. J.B. Hill, is one of the trustees of the Napoleon Hill Foundation and recently gave the foundation a manuscript Napoleon had given to his son, David, J.B.'s father, in the 1950s. Napoleon had titled it, How to Get Peace of Mind, and had intended it to be published as a series of newspaper columns. For reasons unknown to the foundation, the writings were never published. They are presented here for the first time. The trustees have combined this work in this book with a previously unpublished excerpt from an unfinished autobiographical work by Napoleon written in 1947, and with editorial essays written by Napoleon and published in 1919 and 1920 in his magazine Hill's Golden Rule. These writings were selected for this book because they all explore the subject of attaining peace of mind, one of the primary components of a happy life as envisioned by Napoleon Hill. A final chapter is a previously unpublished transcript of a 1948 radio program in which Napoleon disclosed what single ability is essential to achieve success and happiness. Listeners familiar with Napoleon Hill's best-selling book, Think and Grow Rich, may associate his writings with teachings on how to achieve monetary success, and indeed, that was one of the subjects of the book. But Napoleon believed that the greatest success in life was not monetary, and that true riches came from the peace of mind one achieves by helping others. Indeed, his last book, published in 1967, when he was 84 years old, is titled Grow Rich with Peace of Mind, and deals exclusively with this subject. There are numerous writers who have chosen to devote their lives to the study of self-help. Napoleon Hill is one of the most famous self-help authors, but there were other authors who studied this subject before him. Samuel Smiles wrote a book called Self-Help in 1859 in order to help others know about the concept of self-improvement. He wrote about individuals who spent many years working hard and overcoming adversity in order to achieve their goals. Napoleon Hill read Samuel Smiles' book and was heavily influenced by it when he began writing his own self-help books in the early 20th century. However, one difference between Napoleon Hill's books and other self-help books, including Smiles, is that Napoleon showed readers how to be successful. He listed detailed steps to be taken to achieve success or any other desired accomplishment in life. It could aptly be said that Napoleon Hill was a how-to author. Think and Grow Rich, his most famous work, lists detailed steps that all individuals must follow if they want to be successful. It could have accurately been titled, How to Think and Grow Rich. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill listed 6 steps that can be used to obtain anything one desires in life, though his main focus there was on attaining financial success. The steps are listed next. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Third, Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for attaining what you desire, and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan by which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. These steps can be adapted to guide you to anything you desire. In this little book, Pathways to Peace of Mind, Napoleon will show you how to use these steps and other success principles to achieve the great gift of peace of mind. How to Get Peace of Mind. Introduction by Dr. J.B. Hill. My first memory of my grandfather was when I was 12 years old. He gave me a copy of Think and Grow Rich and a $10 bill. I did not read the book, and I cannot remember what happened to that $10. My father, Napoleon Hill's son, went into the military as a young man and served in World War II and the Korean War. He made a career serving his country and won many medals for valor and accomplishments in active duty. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. I chose to follow in the footsteps of my father and joined the United States Marine Corps, where I served for 26 years. During this time, I received my degree from Vanderbilt University and finally read my grandfather's book, Think and Grow Rich, for the first time. After I retired from the Marines, I decided to attend medical school at age 46 and am still practicing medicine today. I am extremely proud of my grandfather, for his work has helped millions of individuals achieve their dreams. I serve as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and through the foundation, we have helped numerous people achieve their own level of success. The first portion of the book you are about to listen to was given to my father when he returned from the Korean War in 1953. I was recently going through my father's collection of material and located the manuscript, titled How to Get Peace of Mind. According to the cover page, it was meant to be a series of newspaper columns, but it was never published. It is not unusual for my grandfather's writings to be unpublished because he was so prolific. His works are still being discovered by his family and the foundation, now more than 50 years after his death. As a grandson who has a burning desire to perpetuate my grandfather's legacy, I hope you enjoy listening to this instructive, inspiring, and timeless gem of a book, finally seeing the light, deservedly, after being hidden away for nearly 7 decades. Part 1. How to Get Peace of Mind. Introduction by the author, Napoleon Hill. Peace of mind softens poverty and adorns riches. Peace of mind is for sale to all who will pay the price, but not at cheap bargain prices. Through this series of personal messages, you will be told what is peace of mind, its price, and how to get it. Before beginning our search for peace of mind, let us find out precisely what it is for which we are searching. It consists in many circumstances and many things, each of which has a price tag clearly marked and attached to it. First of all, peace of mind is complete mastery over all forms of worry. It is freedom from want of the physical necessities of life. It is freedom from physical and mental ailments, when and where their causes may be removed or transmuted into something desirable. It is freedom from the fears and superstitions of the past which have held mankind in bondage. It is freedom from the 7 basic fears. 1. Fear of poverty. 2. Fear of criticism. 3. Fear of ill health. 4. Fear of loss of love. 5. Fear of loss of liberty. 6. Fear of old age. 7. Fear of death. It is freedom from the common human weakness of seeking something for nothing, for life on a cheap bargain price basis. It is the habit of doing one's own thinking on all subjects, a prerogative given to man by his Maker, which happens to be the only thing over which an individual has the complete power of control at all times. It is the habit of frequent self-inspection from within, to determine what changes one must make in his character. It is the habit of developing the courage to look at the facts of life as a realist, not as a dreamer. It is the habit of controlling greed and the desire to be great and powerful and rich at the expense of others. It is the habit of helping others to help themselves. It is recognition of the truth that everyone has the privilege of approach to and the free use of the power of infinite intelligence for the solution of all human problems. It is freedom from anxiety over what may happen after the transformation known as death. It is freedom from all desires for revenge. It is the habit of going the extra mile in all human relationships, of rendering more service and better service than one is paid for, and doing it in a positive mental attitude. It is a keen understanding of the difference between the possession of things and the privilege of using things for the benefit of others. It is knowing who you are and what are your true virtues and abilities which distinguish you from all others. It is freedom from the habit of transmuting defeat into a state of mind of discouragement. It is the habit of thinking in terms of that which you desire, not in thinking of the obstacles which may get in your way while you are seeking to attain it. It is the habit of starting right where you stand, to do that which you wish instead of waiting for all circumstances to be favorable for your doing it. It is the habit of laughing at the petty misfortunes which overtake you, recognizing that they may turn out to be blessings instead. It is the habit of looking for the seed of an equivalent benefit which consists in all adversities, defeats, and failures, instead of mourning over them as a loss. Nothing in human experience is ever entirely lost. It is the habit of taking life in stride, neither shrinking from the disagreeable nor overindulging in the pleasantries. It is the habit of getting happiness from doing rather than seeking it in possessing. It is the habit of making life pay off on your own terms, in values of your own choosing, rather than settling for a menial's hire. It is the habit of giving before trying to get. So, you see that peace of mind is quite an institution. It can be attained only by the means of a definite formula, which will be revealed through this series of personal messages from one who has attained it. The secret behind this formula came into my possession only after I had devoted almost 40 years to the work of analyzing men who had become successes in the accumulation of material riches. Of all the more than 600 top-ranking men who revealed to me the secrets of financial success, I found no evidence that any of them had found lasting peace of mind. This realization was so shocking that it left me no choice but that of searching for the way to peace of mind. And when I found the way, I was surprised to learn that it is within the reach of every human being who is willing to follow the blueprint which I shall reveal through these personal messages. There is a master key which opens all doors between one and peace of mind. It will not be revealed until we reach the last of these personal messages, because the initiate must first learn how to use the key through the assimilation of these messages. You have not found success unless you are at peace with yourself and all others. Napoleon Hill. How to Get Peace of Mind. Chapter 1. The Art of Sharing Riches. When you are worried by a problem you cannot solve, said John Wanamaker, department store tycoon and philanthropist, and do not know what to do next, there is always one thing you can do which may either solve your problem or lead eventually to its solution. You can look around until you find someone with a greater problem than yours and start right where you stand to help him find its solution. The chances are 1,000 to 1 that by the time the solution to the other fellow's problem has been found, you will also have found the solution to your own. From the day when I first heard this strange philosophy, I began to observe more closely those who have problems, including myself, and found the advice to be sound. Andrew Carnegie understood the soundness of this philosophy, the habit of helping others in order to help oneself, and that is why he commissioned me to take to the people of the world what he called the better portion of his vast riches, which consisted of the know-how through which he accumulated his fortune. Mr. Carnegie was a master in the art of sharing his riches, having done such a fine job of sharing opportunities with his employees and business associates that he has been credited with having made more millionaires than has any other American industrialist. He discovered that it paid to share one's blessings, paid in two ways. First, in the peace of mind one experiences when he helps another to attain success. Secondly, in material riches. If you wish to be favorably recognized by others, try casting yourself as the part of the Good Samaritan as often as possible. Napoleon Hill. Willingness to share one's blessings is one of the 12 great riches of life. It ranks, in importance, very near to a positive mental attitude, which is the first and the most important of the 12 great riches. Now let us see how this principle works out in practice. During World War II, one of my distinguished students, Mr. Edward Choate of Los Angeles, California, a representative of the New England Mutual Life Insurance Company, so budgeted his time that 80% of it was given to the government in helping to sell war bonds, for which he received no direct compensation. 10% of his time was devoted to counseling and training other life insurance men, his competitors, in the successful selling of life insurance, for which he neither asked nor received compensation. The remaining 10% of his time was devoted to his own business of selling life insurance. One might think that a budget which gave away 90% of a man's time would be ruinous. Well, let us take a look at the record. During the first 3 months of 1 year, Mr. Choate wrote more than $3 million in life insurance, most of it having been written in his own office on the lives of men who came voluntarily and made application for insurance, men whom he had contacted in connection with the service he rendered while giving away 90% of his time. This is more life insurance than the average agent sells during 10 years of hard work. Every time you share your blessings with another, you place someone in your debt and become his creditor. It is better to be a creditor than it is to be a debtor, for debts have to be paid off. Edward Choate was first introduced to the principle of sharing one's blessings through one of my books on the philosophy of personal achievement. Every year he autographs and gives away hundreds of copies of this book, and every book attracts to him new friends who often remember him when they are in the market for life insurance. It is little wonder, therefore, that most of his life insurance business is done in his own office. Mr. Choate's habit of giving away autographed copies of this particular success book is by no means motivated entirely by his desire to write life insurance on the lives of those to whom he presents it, for he often gives the book to men and women who, by no stretch of the imagination, ever will become buyers of life insurance. He gives the book away because he found himself through its philosophy at a crucial period of his life, when he needed some sources of outside inspiration. He gives it as an expression of his gratitude for the help it gave him. Edward Choate is one of those rare individuals who have learned that one cannot remain forever on the receiving side of life and expect to get or to keep peace of mind or financial prosperity. He has learned, along with the great philosophers of all times, that only the riches one gives away may one keep. If I can get this truth across so that it takes a firm hold on your imagination, the reading of this personal message may well mark the most important turning point of your life, no matter who you are or how rich you may now be. For more than 40 years I have been on the sharing end of life, having been commissioned by Andrew Carnegie to organize a success philosophy through which he desired to share with the people of this world his fabulous billion-dollar fortune, as well as the know-how with which he acquired his tangible riches. So I am not without personal knowledge of the benefits available to one through the principle of sharing. The habit of sharing one's blessings not only leads to peace of mind, but it places one in a favorable position to benefit by the great law of compensation described by Ralph Waldo Emerson, for it is true that whatsoever a man does to or for another, he does to or for himself. Application of this principle of sharing of blessings would bring harmony out of chaos in the unfortunate relationship existing between management and industrial workers if both sides adopted it and lived by it in good faith. I introduced the principle in the industrial plant of the R.G. Letourneau Company, located in Toccoa, Georgia, with such telling results that the production costs were reduced far below the costs in the 3 additional plants of this company. Moreover, personal gripes on the part of employees were entirely eliminated. You desire peace of mind? Very well. Start right where you stand and begin helping those nearest you to find it. Your help may consist only of a few words of encouragement at the proper moment, or it may be something more tangible. But whatever its scope may be, you will feel instantaneous reaction to your efforts in the form of greater peace of mind. Success, in its highest and noblest form, calls for peace of mind and enjoyment and happiness, which comes only to the man who has found the work he likes best. Napoleon Hill. Chapter 2. Learn to live your own life. The most practiced of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. Napoleon Hill. The most profound truth known to mankind consists in the fact that the Creator provided man with complete, unchallengeable right to control his own mind, to direct it to whatever ends he may desire, good or bad, success or failure. The privilege of exercising this prerogative over the mind is the only thing over which man has complete control. By the simple process of exercising this privilege, one may lift himself to great heights of achievement in any field or endeavor. The exercise of this right represents the major difference between men who succeed in life and those who drift into failure, and it is a must for the man who seeks peace of mind. There can be no peace for the mind which is not under its owner's complete control at all times. A controlled mind may achieve great success in any chosen field of endeavor without the aid of a formal education. For proof of this fact, Observe the achievements of Thomas A. Edison, who became the world's greatest inventor by guiding the work of formally educated men with his own controlled mind. Henry Ford became America's greatest industrialist and made himself richer than he needed to be, not because of his superior ability or brains, but simply by taking possession of his own mind and directing it to a definite purpose of his own choice. He kept his mind so filled with definiteness of purpose that it had no time left to think about failure and defeat and discouragement. Mr. Ford had but little formal education, and he chose a definite major purpose for his life work which met with ridicule and antagonism from an unfriendly world. The wealth created and the millions of jobs provided by the two self-controlled minds of Henry Ford and Thomas A. Edison stagger the imagination of the keenest minds, and perhaps changed the entire course of civilization to a more orderly and efficient direction. Did Edison and Ford find peace of mind? No one could answer this except the two men themselves, but it is known that they attained about everything else they desired, that they recognized no such reality as the impossible, and it is safe to conjecture that if they did not find peace of mind, they did not seek it. Orville and Wilbur Wright learned how to live their own lives. Their exercise of this prerogative gave the world its first successful flying machine, a forerunner of a method of transportation which has so shortened the distance between all points on earth that all people have become more closely akin and may eventually learn how to live together peacefully. Like Ford and Edison, the Wright brothers also directed their efforts toward the attainment of a definite purpose which met with ridicule from an unbelieving world. It is worthy of note that the man who takes full possession of his own mind always has great capacity for belief, while the man who allows his mind to drift without aim or purpose invariably is a great unbeliever. More than 40 years ago, Andrew Carnegie sold me an idea which, to date, has brought riches in many forms to many millions of people throughout 2/3 of the civilized world. He sold me the idea that I could take possession of my own mind and direct it to the organization of a philosophy of personal achievement, which would give to the man of the streets the full benefit of the know-how of success as it had been learned by the trial and error method of such men as Mr. Carnegie. I was so unprepared for such a colossal assignment that I barely knew the definition of the word philosophy, but I did have one asset of priceless value, the capacity for belief. Through the application of that capacity, I induced more than 600 of the top-ranking successes in America to collaborate with me in presenting the world with its first practical philosophy of individual achievement. Moreover, I stopped the world from pushing me around while I was doing the job, although I met with severe ridicule at first, much of it from my closest relatives, who believed I should give up my fantastic idea and go to work. I stood by my guns through 20 years of unremunerative research, at the end of which I opened a sealed message left to me by Andrew Carnegie, and discovered from its contents that I had been given the assignment to produce a philosophy of individual achievement, selected in competition with more than 200 others, solely because of my inherent capacity to take possession of my own mind and direct it to a given end despite opposition. My lack of formal education was not considered a handicap. This personal experience is here related in order that you may know how I came by my belief in the power of the habit of one's learning how to take possession of his own mind. When Madame Schumann Heink was a very young girl, she aspired to become a singer. She was sent by her parents to a very noted music teacher for a test of her voice, after which the teacher said, "Go back to your work as a seamstress. You may learn to sew, you will never learn to sing. That advice was perhaps the greatest blessing Schumann Heink ever experienced. It inspired her with the determination.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?